Okay, so this video is just more of a kind of showing people finding creative ways to interlink all of your pastures together. We have 6 different pastures we like to rotate our goats through throughout the year and the winter, just to keep the mud down, also to help kind of keep the grass down, and it decreases how much of hay we have to supplement our animals if we can keep them moving. And it does also help with worm load. As the goats and everything eat the grass lower and lower, the worms, especially around winter time, will actually sit close to the ground. So if the grass gets too short, you're more susceptible to allow the worm load for your goats to go up. So this is the way to kind of help prevent a lot of that stuff. So this is the furthest pasture that we have away. So all the way at the end down there is a fort, and then they have this big long run right here, which then connects to the main pasture up by the house. So this is the first gate that we came up with. So we put a T-post at the end of this gate, and then this wood post right here, which separates this large pasture, there's 4 connectors there. So we actually unhook this, swing it out, reconnect it, move these hot wire poles all the way out here, and then we get to use the same hot fence controller box that's for this main pasture. All will now control this field and this field down here. So now the goats have access to these 2 areas. So now if we walk over this direction, I'll show you how these 2 pastures all connect with each other. Okay, so now here we are coming from the front pasture to another one close to the house. Now it does take a little time to kind of walk things down and really kind of think out, well, how am I going to run my hot fence to keep everybody in? So you can see the tracks here. So this is where we actually come down from the house and go all the way down to our greenhouse. So we have a pasture on this side of the road and a pasture on that side of the road. So what we did here is, this is the hot box, or the hot fence controller, that would actually run this entire pasture here in the front, and it runs all the way down to the fort down there. Now I only have the bottom 2 strands of this hot, the top 2 aren't at all, just to kind of make sure that it shocks enough that it keeps the dogs in and it keeps the goats from ever trying to get out. So it does take a little bit of planning to figure out, okay, well, if I'm attaching this pasture to the far pasture to this front one, where you have to have all your connections and everything run. Once you have that down, it makes things so much easier for moving the goats. So now right here, this fence normally goes and attaches over here across the road, and the one on this side of the road normally attaches here. So when you're getting ready to move the goats, what we normally do is we grab the strands for where we want the goats to go, and we go ahead and unhook those and swing those 4, and then the last one, so that way the goats will have kind of a path. When then we move them, we unhook the ones from the pasture we're going to the pasture we want them to end up in, and then it just kind of creates this path. And then we can come back and put the posts, hook all the tension up, make sure everything looks nice and tight, and then turn the electrical fence back on. So now as we come through here, so those are the first 2 pastures. So now this is the 3rd pasture. So now this pasture here, pretty good size, but it goes down here by the greenhouse. Now my wife came up with the idea for this one, so let's head over here and show you what we did down here. Okay, so now we're down here by the greenhouse, so we want to be able to move from this pasture and move them over to the pasture that's behind the greenhouse, and then goes around the pond in this area. So normally this hot fence runs along here, so that keeps them off, because we're going to be putting another orchard row here. So what we do is we unhook this fence, and I put more gate attachments. So then you unhook that and you swing it over here and attach it to this fence. And then we have these other ones, which these ones actually aren't hot, but what I ended up doing with these is I tied these onto our greenhouse, onto the corner, and just tied them off. So now we just put another fence post and we hook these. Our goats are already in hot fence, so as soon as they see that, they don't even want to get anywhere close to it. So now we can hook these up, and then it gives us this nice path. And then we roll down the sides of the greenhouse to kind of create this little chute right here that comes through and leads to this other gate. Now this was my wife's idea of how to kind of hook all these together, and we just kind of had to figure it out and take some measurements. So it was a great idea, and man, did it make things easier today. We moved the dogs and the goats in here, and I'll put a video at the end showing how quick and easy it was to move all the goats. Hi babies. Hi dogs. Oh, you're good dogs. So now the goats are all through here, and they go around through the fence, and they're all the way around the pond. Now from this pasture to the pasture here that we have our buck in now, there's a gate right up there at that corner. So now once the dogs are done here and the goats, we can run them through this gate, and then they have this whole large pasture. And then behind that shelter, in that front corner, there's another fence that goes to the far pasture all the way over there, which is where we have the mamas and the babies right now. So they're all kind of separated. They're close to the dogs, but not with the dogs until the baby goats are a little bit bigger. So we can move all of the goats now on any pasture on our property, and all we have to do is open a gate and push them through. Okay, so I'm going to show you how quickly you can actually come through and just close off these 2 sections to kind of make this chute, how quickly in real time that it's actually going to take to connect these pastures back and forth. that, all back to normal. So I don't know, what did that take? A couple of minutes, 2 minutes tops. So that's all that it takes to get that all done. All right, so it's been 3 weeks where the goats are at. Time to rotate them out here to the furthest pasture to show how much easier it is to move these goats with all these gates that we've built here. So the goats now are in this far pasture over here. So we're gonna move them through, and we wanna get them out into this far pasture and give them access all the way down there. Hi, girls. Come on, goats. Goaty goats. Come on, everybody. Minus the couple of stragglers there. Got the majority of them to move out here. And the dogs, nice and quick and easy.